Hello, this is Laura. I want to start with something very simple. There was a day when you felt okay, not perfect, not extraordinary, just okay. And then you opened your phone, you saw someone your age buying a house, someone traveling the world, someone getting promoted, someone looking confident, happy, successful, and suddenly, your okay did not feel okay anymore. It felt small. If that has ever happened to you, this episode is for you. Today we're talking about comparison and why comparison quietly destroys happiness. Comparison is subtle. It does not shout. It whispers. It whispers that you are behind, that you are slower, that you are less, and the most dangerous part is this. It makes you believe it. Let's be honest. Comparison feels natural. We grew up being compared at school, at home, with siblings, with classmates. Who got better grades? Who behaved better? Who achieved more? Slowly, without realizing it, we learned to measure our value against other people, and now we continue that habit as adults. But here is something important. Comparison does not motivate most people. It discourages them because when you compare yourself, you are comparing different journeys, different starting points, different opportunities, different struggles. You are comparing chapters, and most of the time, you are comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. Of course, it feels unfair. Of course, it hurts. Let me say something clearly. You are not behind. You are on your path. But comparison makes you forget that. It shifts your focus away from growth and toward judgment, and judgment kills happiness. Think about a moment when you felt proud of yourself. Maybe you improved your English. Maybe you built a small habit. Maybe you handled a situation better than before. You felt good, but then you saw someone doing better, and your pride disappeared. The achievement did not change, but your perspective did. That is the power of comparison. It steals joy without changing reality. Now let's go deeper. Comparison creates insecurity, and insecurity creates fear. Fear that you are not enough. Fear that you will never catch up. Fear that others are moving faster. But here's something most people forget. Everyone is struggling with something. Even the person you admire. Even the person who looks confident. Even the person who seems ahead. Social media shows results. Not anxiety. Not sleepless nights. You see the surface. You do not see the foundation. And yet your mind fills the gaps with imagination, and imagination is often harsh. Let me ask you something. When you compare yourself, how do you speak to yourself? Is your voice kind or critical? Do you encourage yourself or criticize yourself? Because comparison is not just about others. It changes your relationship with yourself, and happiness depends on that relationship. The more you compare, the more you disconnect from your own progress. You stop noticing your growth. You stop appreciating your journey. You stop celebrating small wins, and happiness disappears quietly. Let's talk about something powerful. There will always be someone ahead of you. Always. No matter how successful you become. Someone will have more. More money. More confidence. More experience. More recognition. If happiness depends on being ahead of everyone, you will never rest. Comparison creates a race with no finish line, and running without a finish line is exhausting. Now imagine something different. Imagine measuring your progress only against your past self, not against strangers, not against friends, not against people online, just you. Who were you last year? Are you wiser? Stronger? More aware? Even 1% better? That is growth. And growth is personal. Comparison distracts you from personal growth and pulls you into public competition. But life is not a competition. It is a journey, and journeys move at different speeds. Some people bloom early. Some bloom later. But blooming late does not mean blooming less beautifully. Sometimes comparison also hides insecurity about identity. You compare careers, relationships, lifestyles. But you forget something very important. What works for someone else may not work for you. Different values, different priorities, different dreams. Maybe you do not want their life. Maybe you just want validation, and validation feels temporary. Self-acceptance feels permanent. Happiness grows in self-acceptance. When you accept your timeline, when you accept your personality, when you accept your pace, that acceptance brings peace. Let me share something honest. Directio. Comparison is often strongest. When you feel uncertain, when you don't fully trust your path, when you are unsure of your direction, in those moments, other people's lives look clearer, more certain, more stable. But remember this, clarity on the outside does not mean clarity on the inside. People hide confusion well. You're not the only one figuring things out. Now let's talk about how to reduce comparison. First, awareness. Notice when it happens. Notice the trigger. Is it social media? Certain conversations? Certain people? You cannot change what you do not notice. Second, limit exposure. If something constantly makes you feel small, step back, not out of jealousy, out of protection. Your mental peace matters. Third, redefine success. What does success mean to you? Not to society, not to your family, not to strangers, to you. When your definition becomes personal, comparison loses power because you are no longer playing the same game. And finally, gratitude. Not forced gratitude. Real noticing. Noticing what is already working. Noticing what you have built. Noticing who you have become. Gratitude anchors you in reality. Comparison pulls you into illusion. Sakon. Before we end, I want to ask you something important. If there were no one to compare yourself to, how would you feel about your life? Pause for a second. Without comparison, many lives are actually peaceful. Hones, not perfect, but peaceful. If this episode resonated with you, I want you to do something honest. Write in the comments one thing I am proud of. It can be small, but make it real. And if this conversation made you reflect, like this episode, so it can reach someone who needs to hear this today. And subscribe to this channel. If you want more real conversations like this space is not about perfection. It is about growth. Calm growth. Remember this. Comparison steals happiness when you forget your own journey. But your journey is valid. Your pace is valid, and your progress is enough. This is Laura, and you are not behind.